State of the Frogs with Coach Jamie Dixon, presented to you by Richards Rainwater. I'm your host, Bingo Merriex. And Coach, thanks for stopping by, talking with us. We'll jump right into it. Talking about the game last night, tough loss to Baylor, but, your team fought hard. Can you just take us through that as far as what you thought about the game?
We talked about going into it. It's a game we win down there, and now similar to last year, we won last year at their place early, and then we've got to come back and get it done at our place. And there's got to be that motivation and get the sweep. We really talked about that. We got to prepare differently. It's been a while since we played them, so they're different, we're different, and we got to go out there and get off to a good start, but we don't. Yeah. And we're down 10 early, down 11, and just not, didn't do the things we needed to do. Defensively not good enough. They get a couple threes and get off to start. But we fight back because that's what we do. We fight, we compete, and we get it tied up at halftime. And so you think you're going to start turning it, getting the rebound and go in the second half. And we do. We get some rebounds. We get some offensive daggers, we call them, kick out threes, but we started out poor offensively, not good decision making, and dig another hole for us. So now we got to fight back again, and eventually we get it back and tie it up with some competing down the end, getting some stops and get it tied up. But simply put, we dug too big a hole. They got the ball down for that. After we tie it, they get the last possession, and we didn't get it done. So, I take blame for not having us ready to get off to a good start. And the zone we were good against it early in the first half. Second half, we had, I think, good enough shots, but didn't make them. But we got offensive rebounds and made them pay with that. So if you get 20 offensive rebounds, you're doing something right offensively. I think good enough shots. But simply put, we didn't get it done, and I take responsibility for it. And we had our chances, but at the end of the day, you gotta be better shooting the ball well if you're not going to defend at a high level. And so we didn't get it done. One possession game. We've won all those close games all year long. Yeah. So that's something that we had confidence, I think, going down the stretch, but we didn't get it done, and that's on me.
Yeah, and you just talk about the 20 offensive rebounds and then just talking about your team's resilience in the fight. That's just been the team all season, just overcoming adversity, and that's been a good for your team.
Yeah, we had some guys that weren't quite at 100%, and maybe that didn't help us throughout the game, but they're probably not 100% either. So you got to find the ways. And again, as I told the guys afterwards, we fought, we came back 2 different double-digit deficits and got it tied up. And but you can't put yourselves in that position. That's what I'm trying to get across to the guys early. Offense let us down in the second half. Defense in the first half. We kept battling to get the rebounds and get some second shots, and that was good. But simply put, one possession game, we didn't get it done. But I look at what we should have done early. We're at home. We have a great crowd. We beat them before. That's a game you have to win, and we didn't, and that's on me.
Yeah, and just also to touch on your point, you talk about the crowd. How important is that for just the team morale and just the excitement, the atmosphere around Big 12 play, and just for your guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's it's what we see when we go on the road and what we got to have, and we got to keep building on it. I think it helped us in the momentum in that second half when we came back, and it got loud in there, and it's something that's part of college basketball, but. I hate to disappoint them by not coming up with a win at the end. It would have been nice to sweep Baylor, but we didn't get it done. And a slow start, a slow second half start, put us in holes. We responded, but didn't have enough time to get it done.
Okay. Yep. And so when we come back, we'll be talking to Malik Diallo, one of the backup centers for TCU, when State of the Frog continues with Coach Jamie Dixon.
What do you see when you look up at the clouds? At Richards Rainwater, we see the greatest source of pure, delicious water looking right back down at us. We've invented a simple, powerful technology to collect and bottle rainwater. Our process begins with the rain. When clouds become saturated, droplets fall from the sky. Rainfall is a naturally cleansing event. during the first few minutes, the raindrops clean the atmosphere and wash away any dirt or debris from surface areas. At this cleanest point in the rain cycle, we collect the pure raindrops into large storage vessels. Then, we use a simple, yet effective combination of ozone and microfiltration to ensure our rainwater surpasses the highest drinking water standards. We pour the pure, refreshing rainwater into glass bottles and aluminum cans, packaging as infinitely renewable as the water itself. Richards Rainwater is building a network of collection systems across the country to ensure our rainwater is local everywhere. The purest, best-tasting water comes from the sky. Richards Rainwater, sip the sky.
And we're back here on Stage of the Falls with Coach Jamie Dixon, and we have our freshman big man, Malik Diallo, sitting here with us. Thanks for stopping by. We want to talk to you, Malik, just about your take on the season so far, being a freshman coming in. What has been your biggest takeaway so far in the season?
Well, first of all, thanks you guys for having me here today. My takeaway for the season is, I'm grateful to be back in the court playing basketball again, the sport that I love so much. Mm-hmm. So this season for me was a learning season, to be honest. The Big 12, people talk about it was physical, da-da-da-da-da. I didn't know much until, I started playing in the Big 12. Mm-hmm. So this year kind of helped me to know, what's the competition going to be like next year.
Yeah.
This year was a learning season for me. I learned so much playing in the Big 12 this year. So I'm just grateful to have the chance to play in the Big 12 this year.
Nice. So would you say the physicality was probably the biggest for you? Do you think that you had to adjust to that more?
Yeah. Me playing in the center position, going against guys that have 40 to 50 pounds over me every game is pretty tough for me to deal with, but I try to do my best. So some games I did good, some games not so good, but that's something I gotta, be prepared for. If I wanna do good at this level, you gotta be physical, especially as a senior. You gotta be ready that way. Yeah. So that was my biggest challenge this year.
Yeah. Well, you talk about yourself, man. You've been doing a great job, and in subbing in, helping with Ernest and David in the rotation. Yeah. Has Ern been your, big brother as far as your mentor? As far as have you learned a lot from him? What have you learned from him as far as coming?
Ernest mentored me a lot, especially in defense. When I moved here, the way Dixon played defense, the way TCU want to play defense, I had no clue. So I had to learn from somebody. So Ernest and Punch was ahead of me. So I had to, since Ernest been here for a minute, I had to ask him so many questions. Ernest, how you do that? How you defend that? Where you got to be when this is happening. So Ernest been a great mentor to me, thanks to him and Punch.
Yeah. So, the season is still going on, conference tournament, coming up soon. One game left with Colorado going on the road. Yeah. What has been your favorite moment of the season so far? If you have one, if you can think of one right off.
If I had one, my favorite moment of the season was, I guess Oklahoma State when Ernest was when Ernest was in foul trouble, I stepped up big for the team and it helped us to get a win, even though the end was not pretty like we wanted. But I stepped up for the team, covered up when Ernest was not there. So that was my favorite game, I guess, so far.
Nice. Yeah, that's good, man. You've been doing a great job, and good luck the rest of the way. Yeah. And when we come back, we'll talk to Coach Dixon about Colorado and going into the conference tournament, Big 12 play, when the State of the Frogs continue with Coach Dixon.
Energy does everything for us. It's all-encompassing.
We're all benefiting and affected from it.
And it is something that we all need to know about.
It is the glue that holds everything together.
TCU is powering what matters, our future.
We don't just talk about what's needed, we focus on results.
The Ralph Lowe Energy Institute is creating a world where energy is affordable, sustainable, and reliable.
Back here on State of the Frogs with Coach Jamie Dixon. We'd like to thank Malik Diallo for stopping by, talking with us. Coach, just touching on, your freshman center coming in. Can you just talk about him for a little bit?
Just works. He's out there early before practice. He's out there playing hard every day. Just gotten better, and it's great to see. I saw him. We recruited him. Saw him play a little bit, and was really impressed. Thought he had some really good talents as far as length and size, and had played hard and had some good skills. Yeah. And then he had the injury his senior year, so we don't see him much there. You wonder how he gets here in the summer, and doesn't practice, and probably thinking, we go into the season, he's not really playing as practicing till we kind of get to November, October. But his progress since practicing and putting him out there has been dramatic, and so just like he likes the game, he works at it, he gets in the gym, and he's got size, length, and obviously needs to get stronger, but will do it, and we know it, and so it's just great to see him get better and better. Had some really good minutes for us last night, and continues to get major minutes for a freshman, big guy especially at this time of the year. It says a lot about him and what he can become.
Yeah, and he was just talking about getting better and looking forward to the future. He talks looking up to Ernest and you as far as just coming along, and that's just your team period. Your young team, but all the guys have seemed to matured with the season going forward. And so now moving into the last game of the season as far as the conference, going into Colorado, what are the stakes? Talk about the stakes. Can you talk to us?
Well, we're playing for a bye. We've got to get that 10th win in conference play, and it's there's a lot to play for. And as a team that's gotten better, we're right there in the middle. We've got to come out, and I think we're going to be hungry from this last game, because we felt we didn't get it done when we should have, and but you got to respond, and it's you got to get it done on the floor. And so it's a big game for us. We obviously beat them here earlier in the year, but now we got to go on the road, and we'd like to get a sweep out of this. So we talked about that last game where we had a chance for a sweep, didn't get it done. We have to get this done. They're playing better. They've gotten some wins down the stretch. It's a tough place to play, and we got to go out and out-rebound them.
Yeah, and so is that the main key? Because, you talk about out-rebounding them. Colorado, they're a dangerous team, maybe the last game of the conference for them, senior night, so rebounding will be important for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, to us, and that has to be the key, and we were down rebounding. Then we got turned in the second half, and we just didn't seem to complete it with the offensive rebounding. But it's got to be our thing. If that's, to me, it's the constant, and our defense can't give second shots, and that's we're not quite there defensively to where I'd like to be. But we show moments, we show stretches. We've got to sustain and not let our offense turn into bad opportunities, good opportunities for the other team. So we got to take care of the basketball too as well, not give live ball turnovers.
Yeah, and then so also moving into the last game against Colorado, then going into the Big 12 tournament, and then hopefully to the tournament. The SEC looking to have 13 teams, and the Big 12 8 teams. Can you just talk about just the strength of just how those two conferences are going right about now?
I mean, in the Big 10, and there's been separation. There's no question. SEC's had an unbelievable year. Their non-conference was really, they got it done. It's similar to what we've been doing for years in the Big 12. But there's obviously a changing of the guard, and I think these Power Fives, Power Fours, you call them, are kind of separating themselves to some degree. But we're in a world of transitional rosters, and pretty much whoever people have this year probably not going to have the next year. The impact guys, and it's so much older. You're talking about Auburn, who's number one. They've got 10 seniors, I think. In most of them in their rotation. So being old is the answer, and that's always been the answer. But it's a new old nowadays, and that's what makes programs. But you can't. You used to be able to stay old with losing a couple guys. That's not going to be the case. You got to bring in many, many guys on a regular basis.
Yeah. Well, okay, Coach, man, we wish you the best for Colorado and the Big 12 tournament the rest of the season. This has been another edition of State of the Frogs with Coach Jamie Dixon. I've been your host, Bingo Merriex, presented to you by Richard's Rainwater.